Jalen Brown saying this was my my favorite season of my career when you lost after being up 3-1 in the first round and you lose a game 7 at home seems insane. And that's specific.
When he's won an NBA championship.
When he's won an NBA champ, not just an NBA championship, a finals MVP. So you were the best player on the floor for either team, arguably, in that series. And you're telling me that your round one exit when you blew a 3-1 lead is your favorite season? That is why that's basically saying subliminally, hey, I like when I'm not second to Jason Tatum.
This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not.
Welcome back to the Warner Brothers podcast. You could call this part 2 of the Game 1 semifinals edition for the NBA. Keaton, what's up? I got Keenan with me. Keenan, how you doing? Fresh off the wisdom teeth removal, by the way.
Fresh off the wisdom teeth. So, but I'm good. I'm doing very well. How are you? The playoffs have been immaculate, like as expected for me. As we talked about before, I think the NBA playoffs is the best playoff in all, whether it's NFL or whatever. So, and it's lived up.
So I said, I don't think it was last night. I think it was it Thursday? Maybe it was last night. I don't even remember. Yeah, it was last night. So I just posted the clip today. I said that the first round was a 10 out of 10. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, you have 3 game 7s in the first round. There was no boring series other than OKC and Phoenix. Because even San Antonio and Portland with Wemby going down and then still what are the Spurs going to look like in round 1? No series other than the Thunder Suns, and even that had a little bit of Devin Booker controversy to it. So overall, there is not really a boring series other than that one.
Yeah, Blazers Spurs had at least suspense to it. There was at least a good game.
Yep. With
the controversy with Devin Booker, you talking about the technical foul?
Yeah, I'm talking about the technical foul and then him calling out the refs, and then so like just with that little bit of controversy, which made the series a little bit, but other than that, everybody knew the Thunder were going to get him out of there, and at worst 5. It only would have been shocking if the Thunder allowed 2 games to slip.
Absolutely. Listen, I've said it multiple times here over the past week, and I'm agreeing with you. I don't know if it was me just forgetting because there's so long between game 1 and the playoffs, but like I've been in heaven with these playoffs, and I think I agree with you completely. I think they're just slightly better than the NFL. Who knows? Maybe by next January when we're in wild card weekend and we're in divisional round weekend, maybe I'll change my mind. And maybe like it's because this is the best first round we've had in a while. I'd have to go through like the archives to see when the last great first round was. But we at least always get 1 or 2 great first round series, especially the more often we get teams like Philly or Minnesota as lower seeds, you know? We just have a pretty stacked league. But I think I'm back on board, man. Especially with these second round matchups that are all pretty good outside of maybe OKC LA. Like, it just doesn't seem like the playoffs are going to slow down at all.
They don't at all. And I'm even excited for that series to see how the Lakers can try to deal with OKC. I think the OKC is going to get them out of there. If you haven't seen the predictions, we both have them OKC winning in 5. Because I think they're just there's not a single player that can guard Shea. Like, what are they going to do with it? I mean, not that there's many in the league that can guard Shea, but at least someone like Ant or Jaden McDaniels can give him problem. No, they don't even have it. He's going to see a lot of Marcus Smart, Austin Reeves, and Jared Vanderbilt. I was trying to think. I was like, I have no idea. Who are they going to guard? They see some Jared Vanderbilt minutes. Like, I was trying to think, like, who else could guard? I was going through I was like, Reeves, no. Laravia, no. Kennard, no. I was just circling
Vanderbilt doesn't really get run for them either.
And he doesn't even get many minutes because offensively he doesn't do much. So Vanderbilt might get 15 minutes a game just specifically to guard Shea. That's it.
or you might get like 38 minutes of Marcus Smart, which will, that'll be entertaining. I mean, there is a world. We didn't see it in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I doubt we'll see it in the second round because I think Phoenix is probably a better defensive team than LA.
Yeah.
There is a world, I guess, where OKC just goes cold. Like the only way I could see the Lakers really, really sticking around is if LeBron did his it would be 2015 finals
15, yeah.
impression, where he's like taking it all the way down to 2 on the shot clock, finding a shooter or taking a shot himself. And I guess you'd have a little more help with Reeves in this scenario, but you definitely don't have the shooting ability that those Cavs had, even without Kyrie and Kevin Love. So maybe like that compounded with like great defense, like the best defense the Lakers could play, on top of like SGA and the Thunder going cold. But like, what are the odds? What are the odds of that happening for 2 games at least? So
yeah. So we'll see. I think they're gonna try to go get game 1. Is what I think, that game 1 will be the one that LeBron circles to, like, we're going to go for this one. But we'll see how it goes. I don't think they're gonna get it, but I think this is gonna be the one where LeBron plays really well in.
So Keaton, we have 2 objectives with this podcast.
Yep.
I want to present to you playoff stock. Whose stock has risen, whose stock has fallen, maybe whose stock hasn't gone up or down. We could start there, or we could start with, I know you wanted to kind of review the fallen soldiers of the first round and what's next for them. So where would you like to start?
I've been interested about this playoff stock thing, and I'm also interested to know who your Dylan Harper comp is. Like, that's another thing.
Yes. That has been a hot topic.
Because I've seen it, obviously, in watching the pods, and you've been hinting at it a little bit here and there. So I'm just excited to know who that is.
Do you have a guess?
Of who Dylan Harper reminds you of? I don't. I've been thinking about it every single time we go through, and I'm like, I don't have the guy. So no, I don't.
You don't even have a guess? Like, wow, not one guess.
No, honestly, I don't. Because I've been thinking, I was like, he can't be thinking Manu, because like they don't play the same and like they're different, even though they're lefties off the bench for the Spurs. So I was trying to think that. I was like, he's not young Harden. I don't think, like, I was just trying to go through people, and I was thinking left-handed too. And I don't have it. I really don't have it, or else I would. I mean, other than Terrence Shannon, who's been playing really well. Those two guys.
Terrence Shannon on the Wolves?
Yeah, no, I was just joking. It's because Terrence Shannon's been playing well.
Because they're both lefty?
Yeah, and they've been playing. He's been playing well last couple games. But no, I really don't.
I'll tell you this. He reminds me of 2 players a little bit. I was talking about one in particular. He reminds me a bit of Kyrie in two facets. One, the way he gets to the rim and can finish. Kyrie obviously has outstanding handle, but Dylan Harper just has a knack for getting to the rim and finishing around the rim. So he reminds me a little bit of Kyrie in that regard. He reminds me of Kyrie with the fact that Kyrie was on those early Cavs teams without LeBron.
Yep.
And those teams were not good. Obviously, they were lottery teams. But like, he so very clearly had star potential, and he so very clearly was a special player, even though the record wasn't reflecting it. And you're kind of like, what am I watching here? You know what I mean? Obviously, Dylan Harper has Wemby and, the whole Spurs infrastructure that they have. They got a whole squad. But I feel that same way when I watch Dylan Harper, where I'm like, there's something here, but I can't quite put my finger on what's special about this player, right? But the player ultimately I am talking about, and I gave the hint that, this player also had a dad who was formerly in the league. Talking about Kobe Bryant. Their games are not similar at all, but the way Dylan Harper carries himself very much reminds me how a young Kobe carried himself, which was that of like, I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be a star. I was born to be in the NBA. That's very much how Afro Kobe carried himself. And that's what Dylan Harper reminds me of. Again, their games are completely different. Kobe is a high flyer, especially early on in his career. Won a dunk contest, all that. Dylan Harper's a little more below the rim. But you can very clearly tell, and I'm sure this was the case with Kobe, it's very clear like they grew up in an NBA family.
Yeah.
And, obviously Dylan Harper's brother, Ron Harper Jr., is on the Celtics, and he's got a bit of a different path. He wasn't a lottery pick, and, he's more of a scrappier player.
Mm-hmm.
But Dylan Harper very much has that Kobe quality to where it's just like, yeah, I'm supposed to be here. I am here. I'm special, and, just watch me grow. So in
Yeah.
that regard, he's probably the closest to Kobe I've ever seen, at least young Kobe, because obviously Kobe grew into himself, but 18, 19, 20, all the way to 22-year-old Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's exactly who Dylan Harper reminds me of at this point in his career.
I like it. I've always thought play style wise, he has a little bit of shade to him because it's how easy he can get within 15 feet and how under control he is when he gets there. Obviously, he doesn't have the same array of moves as Shea does, but it's the driving left, spin move back right finish. It's the I'm going to create space. He doesn't look 19, even like physically, he doesn't look 19. Obviously, a lot of guards will come in and they don't have the strength yet. Not that he's not going to get more strength, but he's put together in the sense of like you're not just going to easily bump him off every spot and things like that. So I love him. I love watching him play. I watched a bunch of him this year, so I like it. I was interested. It's an interesting comp because obviously when you think player for player, they're not the same. But when you think mentality, swagger, and their upbringing makes sense. So I do like the comparison. And speaking of comparisons, let's go into players stock up, stock down.
Let's do it. All right, I got it right here, Keaton. There's a few with question marks, and I want you to tell me if you agree or disagree.
Yep.
And I actually decided I'm going to keep this running throughout each round. Especially since some of the guys on this list are still playing. So, their stock could go down, or maybe it kind of stays the same depending on round to round. But anyway, and we can adjust some of these. But the first name on this list, and again, I started this. Today's May 5th, so clearly I just edited. But I think I started this probably maybe April 23rd. Maybe it was within the first week of the playoffs. Anyway, first name I have, Jalen Durant. I have him for stock down.
Yeah.
He obviously had a really good game 7. That was his best game of the first round. But I think overall, his playoff stock has to be down. And, this is a player.
Been the fourth best player on his team when he's all NBA second team.
Sure. And, again, Keenan, you talking about the playoffs and, how much you love the NBA playoffs. I don't think there's ever been, I said this last night, the difference between the regular season and the playoffs, like, I don't think we can even take not only all-stars, that's a given. That might have been the case even prior to all this chaos in the NBA. But I don't even know if we can take all NBA at face value anymore. Regular season almost seems like pickup compared to the NBA playoffs. Like, if you can get 25 in the regular season, cool. Can you still do it in the playoffs?
Yeah.
That's always been the case, but now the gap seems wider than ever between regular season and postseason. So, and Jalen Duren's a perfect example of that. He was a walking double-double during the season, one of the best rebounders during the season. He was barely scratching 8 rebounds consistently during this first round series. He just was not making an impact with his physicality whatsoever up until, again, game 7 of the series. So I'm assuming you agree with that one.
Oh, 100%. I 100% agree with stock down. I don't even think he's leading his team in. No, it's Tobias Harris has been looks in the postseason. I think he's barely leading, and then Asor Thompson's been that. But honestly, in my head, their players has gone Cade obviously being 1, Tobias being 2, and then to me, Asor Thompson's been better than Jalen Duren so far throughout these playoffs. Not that Asor's been great, but I think he's been working on the boards, and obviously defensively, he's going to show up. 2.3 steals, 2.3 blocks. So overall, I think Duren's been their 4th best player when he is clearly their number 2 in the regular season. And again, all NBA, most likely second team, if not third team guy this year.
So I just added Tobias Harris because prior to this, he was just Tobias Harris,
Yeah.
He would often be your 3rd or 4th best player, and you'd often want him to make big shots. And famously in Philly, just did not make big shots for him. He didn't even just make his corner threes that he's been making for Detroit in this series. And, he had a couple 30-point games in this series for Detroit. So I added him after you just mentioned him.
Let's stock up.
Stock up. Stock up Tobias Harris, stock down Jalen Durant.
Mm-hmm.
This was after game 2. I had CJ McCollum with stock up, who I've always liked in the playoffs. He's always someone, I've always liked him in general.
Yep.
How do you feel about him post game 6? Should I keep him stock up? Should I keep him just even? I don't know if his stock's down as much as the Hawks, but what would you say for CJ?
I would say stock up because I think obviously from game 2 on, his stock is staying the same.
Okay.
But I think from the beginning of the playoffs to now, because I don't think going into that playoff series, people were really thinking, oh, we should trade for CJ McCollum if we're like a team that's close. But I think now that a team that's like close, like, could you imagine CJ McCollum right now on Detroit? Just like an extra scorer on Detroit where he could come and when Cade goes to the bench, it's not just Jenkins, it's CJ. So I think teams like that are now like really circling the CJ McCollum button. And so I would say his stock's gone up a bit. Atlanta, I thought that Atlanta could do it. The Knicks have over these last 4 games have played phenomenal basketball. They look like the favorites in the East. Detroit's trying to say they are right now. They're up 39-25 as we speak. But overall, I think that CJ McCollum's stock has risen a bit just because I think there's going to be teams out there that's like, he's a veteran who can go get you 30 in a playoff game. That's very valuable.
Keenan, shocked, by the way, to see you pick the Knicks in 7. You've been very anti-Knicks. You've been causing a stir on our social media page, actually, with your Knicks take. Yeah. So
they impressed me. In fairness, they impressed me, and I thought they were going to be playing Boston, so I thought they were going to lose. Philly impressed me too, but like I also was never like a Philly hater or anything like that. I had them going 6, and that was when I thought they were going to go 6 without Embiid. Yeah, and Asar Thompson. Are you looking at that reverse?
Yeah, Asar Michael Jordan Thompson.
Yeah, I was going to say, he flew. Now, if any of the Thompson twins, if they can get a jumper, boy, they'll watch, like, the league is in trouble if each of them can get a jumper. Golly. Oh my gosh.
Even half of a jumper, even if they can just get a spot up 3, they will, even without it, they'll have 10, 12-year careers.
Mm-hmm.
But
100%.
With a spot up, they'll have 15-year careers.
Yeah.
But yeah, they got, I mean, if you remember, my stock, besides Wemby, I thought they should have went 2 and 3. Honestly, I thought they should have went ahead of Scoot back in the day. And shouts to Scoot. Scoot's doing his thing. By the way, just because you mentioned him, Asar Thompson, I had him for stock up. I love what I'm seeing out of him. Yeah. These aren't in any particular order. Like this was a few weeks ago when I started this, and then I've kept it running. So these are all over the place as far as the players that are next and this and that. So after CJ McCollum, I had Brandon Ingram stock down. I don't think there'll be any argument there. He is tanked.
We don't even really have to have much of a conversation about that. No, Brandon Ingram definitely is stock down. He is a guy who I've loved for a while, like coming out of Duke, going to LA. I was super high on him. Like that 2018 Lakers team, I think it was Lonzo, Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle, Kuzma. Like, I loved that team. A lot of those guys were players, like college players that I really liked. So overall, I really like, but Brandon Ingram, certified bucket until so.
Keen, you left out Josh Hart on that team. Like, imagine
if I did leave out Josh Hart.
Imagine if they just keep that team together. I mean, obviously, if you want LeBron, you do what he does. But imagine if you just keep that team together, and you even with LeBron, if you keep that team together.
No, that team would have worked. But in fairness to them,
keep 2 of the 3 together. Keep even 2 of those players.
In fairness, though, they did get Luka because of it. Because they obviously got AD, they got the championship, then they got Luka. So you do that trade 10 times over if you're going to end up getting a championship, AD and Luka, obviously. But you're right. If you could have just kept that whole nucleus together, you could have built something. I really do. You get a healthy Lonzo, and there's a world where that team actually heavily competes. It really is.
I'm skipping the next player. I'm going to save him for near the end.
Okay.
Stock up Jade McDaniels.
100%. Not
Love
even
everything
like
about
some
him.
of these aren't even like questions. 100%. He said, "Hey, you guys aren't good at defense." And then Ant goes down, Dante goes down, Io goes down in game 6. He says, I got 32 for you, plus Jamal Murray, you're going to be inefficient. Gotcha. Absolutely. That game alone stock up, but his whole series is good.
Yeah. I mean, hold on. I just got to do quick research right here.
No, you're good. And then obviously game 1, 2, he played pretty well. He was in foul trouble, so he didn't get as much. But game 1 against the Spurs, he played well, which we'll talk about that game here probably shortly. But fun game, interesting game. Shout out Ant, shout out the Timberwolves for that one. But Spurs will be back.
Rudy Gobert stock up.
Yeah, 100%.
As someone whose stock has long been down.
To be quite honest with you, circle the entire Timberwolves team and just stock up. Like, there's not really a player. Even Ant, I can't say stock down. Like, his stock is the same to me.
Same.
Ant's one of those guys that are like, that's like every postseason we talk about it. The way you talk about the regular season, you're like, yeah, Ant's always going to be a second or third team All-NBA guy, not like in the MVP conversation as of right now. Obviously, he can get there. But then the playoffs come, it's like it's hard to name 5 better that are playing. It's hard to name. It's hard because like guys like Giannis who haven't been there for a while, it's hard to get to 5 and be like, oh, we got better players than Anthony Edwards.
You know what's really weird about him? There's not many other players who come to mind with this, but I don't think he necessarily even rises in the playoffs. I don't think he plays really any different than he does in the regular season. Like usually it's one or the other. Usually you're not as good. It's a little harder for you to score, or usually you're just a riser. And he kind of stays the same, but it doesn't matter because I think everyone else around him rises up in the playoffs, which is very interesting. Next, Christian Brown, stock down. I think he averaged like 6 points per game in this series.
5-year, $125 million contract. At the time he signed that, I thought it was a little much, but it made sense. Now that contract looks horrendous. That's a tough contract.
Yes. I have many Nuggets thoughts.
Same.
Devin Booker, I want to hear your opinion on this. Stock down for Devin Booker. I don't think there's really much of an argument there.
Yeah.
What do you think's going on with him? Because I can't pinpoint if it's minor injuries. I can't pinpoint if he's like just washed up already. Like, what is it? There's just no birth there.
Do you have Jalen Brown on your list by chance?
We will get there.
Okay, so then I'm gonna save some stuff that I think.
Wait, you're talking about a Jalen Brown for Devin Booker trade?
I have got multiple Jalen Brown trades. Foreshadowing. I've got multiple Jalen, and I'll explain exactly why when we get to Jalen Brown. But Devin Booker, I don't think it's that he's hurt. I just think that he is not the best player on a championship team. Like that's
fine.
And that's
fine. But that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm talking about why aren't we consistently getting 25 to 28 point games? Because he is one of those guys in the playoffs who can get his own shot, who can score, who can make. Where's the fire? I don't see any spark out of him. That's what I'm concerned about.
It was weird. I got that too, and I don't know because I bet on him multiple times in that Thunder series. I was like, oh, after a bad, he'll go get 20 today at least, if not 25. Didn't hit it. And I was like, there's multiple times I lost a bet specifically because of Devin Booker. And I don't know. I don't know if it's he's lost the fire in Phoenix. He just doesn't feel like his team's there, but they had a good season this year.
Like I think this was the case with him last year though, too, with Durant there. I don't think, I think it's been this season and last where he's just looked, I don't want to say washed, but like almost on the downside of his career. Like he's playing more like a 35-year-old than he is. I think he's probably like 28. Like he just looks a step slower, a half step slower even. So I don't really understand it.
I don't understand it either. He feels like a guy who should be ascending right now. Like this should be peak Devin Booker. But
exactly.
We'll see. I think maybe just a different scenery, a different role, something. I don't know. But
I don't even think it's a change of scenery because he wants to be there, and they were a good team this year. But it's like he just looks like a different player. That makes no sense to me. Keen, this one has a question mark. The Atlanta Hawks. I don't know what to do with them.
The whole team?
In theory, their stock should be up, right? Because like they just went toe to toe with a contender. They like almost did exactly what I expected. I picked the Knicks in 6. I picked the series exactly. I thought they'd go up 2-1. The Knicks would take over. what no one could predict was them being down close to 60 points in Game 6.
Fortunately for them, Magic Game 6 happened because that took a little bit of shine away from the worst half of basketball I've ever seen, because the Magic second half was the worst basketball half I've ever seen. But yes.
So do I leave the Hawks be? Do I leave
I
them
would
be?
say their stock's even.
Do I just let it be like we just write it off? Like young team, 60 points, like it happens, even though it doesn't happen.
I wouldn't say it happens, but I wouldn't lower their stock because of the game. I think the series so here's what I think. I think games 1 through 5 raised their stock. I think game 6 lowered their stock back to where it was regularly. So like it's regular, if that makes sense. So like if they were up, they're now just right. I think they're on track. They made a good trade. Jonathan Kuminga looks like he has life again. Jalen Johnson playing well. Obviously, they had CJ, Dyson Daniels. They just need to get another shot, a legitimate shot creator, and the team will be okay. Like they're heading in the right direction. And I think next year, this offseason could make their next year look like, oh, this could be possibly a top 4 team in the East and maybe a second round team.
You know what I'm going to do?
Yeah.
Because you're right. I mean, the series, by and large, went exactly how I thought it would go. They played well, and they looked young when they were supposed to. The problem is they looked like a JV team in Game 6.
Yes.
So I'm going to actually put their stock up because like they did what we were supposed to do, and they even looked better than we thought probably in the earlier part of the round.
Yep.
I'm going to put the Knicks stock up as well because I think we both bought stock in them. Yes. I bought stock in them, honestly, after Game 4. I'll throw it to this player right here. Cat. I got Cat with a stock up. I go back. Can you heard me say this? Not only on the podcast, but just when me and you were talking. There's certain players I just go back and forth on. There's been times in Cat's career where I've disliked him or haven't been happy with what I thought he could be. And now he's even exceeded that. He looks like a brilliant passer, but like he's tough on the rebounds, which he's always been. I don't think he gets enough credit for his rebounding, but like the defense is there. The toughness is there. The big shot making is there. The swagger's there. He just looks like a completely different player.
He feels finally like a number 1 overall pick should. Because I think
he's
that's
always
the
felt
thing
like a number
with Cat
1.
is
I think he's always felt like a number 1 though. I feel like he feels just like more complete. I feel like he feels more complete now.
Yeah, well, I felt for me, it felt like always that there was a little bit to be desired, like just a little bit left. Like he needed to do just a hair more, and that's so. Like you're right. It's not that he wasn't justified as a number 1 pick. I didn't mean in that sense. I more so meant like you pick a number 1 pick a lot of the time because they're franchise changers. He didn't feel like a franchise changer, even though he felt like a franchise player. Right now, he feels like a little bit more franchise changer. Like you have him, and you're really happy about what you have because 2 triple doubles. If you had told me 2 triple doubles from any player in the like, he would have been like the 40th player I chose for 2 triple doubles. Like I would have given you, not really 40th. That's an over exaggeration, but there are plenty of players on teams where I've been like, yeah, he's getting a triple double before Cat. So I shout out to him. He's played really well. I sometimes wish he would shoot even a little bit more, but I do like how the fact that they run the offense through him. I just think he's such a talented shooter and he's a talented offensive player. And sometimes I don't even think he takes full advantage of his talent offensively, just because obviously the offense runs through Jalen Brunson. But yeah, no, and that's stock up easy.
And that's why I'm buying stock more so in this Knicks team now is they're not as Jalen Brunson centric. Like after they went down 2-1, something flipped and they're playing together. Like OG's a bigger part of their offense. Cat's a bigger part of their offense. Josh Hart, he's the heart and soul of that team. But like, who else? Why am I blinking right now? Alvarado, when he's in there, is getting shots. Like
Mikal Bridges needs to play a little bit better, but overall, he's still good.
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah, Bridges is Bridges, but like, he's making a little more of an impact after his 0-point game-winning shot miss effort. While we're talking about teams, Raptors, their stock has to be up. Even 100%. Though everyone aside from Brandon Ingram, obviously, but between Scotty Barnes, who's been incredible in this series. I really like how hard he plays. They didn't even have Emmanuel Quickly really in the series at all. They kind of shelved him. Colin Murray Boyles, I thought he was great in this series.
Yep. I liked him a lot in the draft.
Just the level of heart they played with. Darko, I've said on here, I love him as a coach. He's a psychopath. He really believes that they can like win the championship. I think like that's the way he kind of carries himself. That's the way he talks about his team. That's the way he talks about Scotty Barnes. I mentioned Keenan a couple pods ago that like, you know, when they do the coach cutaway, like coming back from a commercial and you, like it'll cut to Steve Kerr. And he'll be like, come on, we just got to play together. Like, oh, we got to play together. And it's like a 2K cutscene. And like, I've heard actually Steve Kerr himself talk about it, how like those are planned and how like they're stupid because they actually give you nothing and they're not even like what they're actually talking about in the huddle. And you like, you can see it. There's no enthusiasm. They cut to Darko at one point in the series. I'm sure multiple points, but one game I happen to be watching, they cut to him and he's like in his clipboard, enforcing his team what to do, like really giving them like motivational speech. And I'm like, oh, Darko's not playing at all. Like that's actually him in the huddle coaching. So I loved it. I loved it.
I'm Raptor stock up, Scotty Barnes stock up. They have something there. They've had something there, but they need just one more. They needed a better version of Brandon Ingram. Maybe they could do something. If they can get a better version of Brandon Ingram, or Brandon Ingram can be the best version of himself, that team can compete. But that's what they're missing.
Hold on 1 second here.
Oh, shout out Tobias Harris, stock up. Another
all right.
3.
One player before we get to like the real fun part of this list here. Actually, I have Jared Allen in here with stock down. And I don't actually remember if I did that before Game 7.
That has to have been before Game 7.
Or if I meant to put the up arrow and I accidentally put the down arrow. So I don't know if that's just a typo or if I had that in there before Game 6, or excuse me, before Game 7. So I don't know, but I'm actually going to put a stock up if it was down before. So after 22-19, let's confirm actually right now by looking at his stats for this game. Cavs are down 14 as we speak with 5 minutes left to go in the second quarter. And Jared Allen actually has 0-0 and 1 assist. So maybe his stock is down, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt for right now.
Yeah, no, the thing too that, and we've talked about obviously the playoffs before, like at large, is guys like you just barely mentioned. In Game 3, his stock could have been down, but now his stock is up. In the NFL, obviously, it's such a small sample size. People don't have the chance to redeem themselves as quick, which is why, like, obviously you highlight people like Tom Brady who have continuously again and again, they get to those moments and they're always, like, not always, but 90% of the time they're successful and things. So like those are the guys, they're clutch, they're big time and they're not going to shy away from a moment. I like the NBA playoffs more because you can bounce back within the same series and you can really tell who you are, which is why James Harden, when it's consistent in Game 6 and Game 7, he doesn't perform. It's like, okay, we've given you opportunities. We even won a series when you're bad in a Game 6. And then you go and do it again. So then you just get more evidence of that. Like Justin Herbert has played in 3 playoff games. So he's played 180 minutes of playoff football. Hasn't been good in them. So, like, already his stock is clearly down when it comes to the playoffs, but also it's 3 games. Could you imagine if we just based it on 4 games, which would be, like, about the same amount of time, roughly, for an NBA player? It's tough to build, like, hey, here's one series. This is everything off that one series. So that's why I like the NBA playoffs. You have more time to redeem. And then you get to really know who you are.
In some cases, in a lot of cases, it's like, it's different now because, again, it's a little more competitive. But, like, back in the day, like, DeRozan and Lowry, they had terrible playoff resumes, but it was almost unfair because, like, in the earlier rounds against lesser competition, they did their job. It would just be them going against LeBron.
They just ran
so, like, LeBron. I don't know. I always felt like, especially in the NBA and especially in social media, and we'll actually talk about this very soon because it's really hard to, like, decipher what's what, depending on like what you believe and then what you consume also. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we'll get to that. Because I actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players / teams that I am extremely looking forward to talking to you about, Keenan. And we'll start here because this is a two-parter.
Yep.
Tell me if you agree with me.
Yeah.
Paolo stock up,
100%.
Magic stock down.
Yes.
And
yes.
you know,
Magic, because the Magic, if you would have said walking into game, if you would have been walking out of the half of game 6, stock up. Easily stock up, because you're like, okay, the desperate home team, the 60-win team in game 5 came out and they played well. That always happens. You circle that game 6, we're back home, and they did what they were supposed to do in the first half. And then they scored 19 points in the second
never
half.
seen anything like it.
4 of 37. That half alone is a whole stock down. And Paulo, and to Detroit and on the road in back-to-back games, put up 38 and then 45, or 45 then 38. Yeah, no, his stock is up. He's a true playoff player, because in game 7 against the Cavs a few years back, he had 37. Like, he is a playoff guy. Franz, it's tough because he's been injured for a few of these playoff runs and hasn't really gotten a chance to play. But Paulo, yes, the Magic, that is tough, because they had it right there. They had a terrible season, or an inconsistent season, let me say, and they were right there.
Terrible's fine. Terrible,
and they were right there. They could have rectified it all. Then they go into a matchup with the 4 seed against a Cleveland team that they have the talent to beat. They don't have to worry about what we presume to be the best team in Boston. You might see New York, or you might see Philly. It was right there. They could have made a legitimate finals run. It was right there. And they said, actually, you know what? We don't even want to play basketball. I feel like on that court, I could have at least looked that bad. Like, I could have gone out there and looked that bad. Like, I tell you what, I could have contributed to the 437. I promise you that. Golly, that was horrendous.
Here's the thing, too. Like, famously, I forget if it was the same day. I think it was back-to-back nights, actually. I think Celtics-Cavs, when Tatum dunked on LeBron and the Celtics lose to the Cavs.
Yep.
They famously, I can't remember the exact stat, but they went cold from 3. But they were in that game all the way to the end. Like, LeBron took that game.
Don't forget about Jeff Green. Jeff Green was big down the stretch.
Jeff Green, yep.
Old man Jeff Green.
Famously, after Tatum dunked on LeBron, I think he hits a 3 after, and it looked like the Celtics were going to win that series. Mm-hmm. It looked like they were going to win that game 7. LeBron closes the deal. Mm-hmm. People point to, again, whatever they shot from 3, they went cold. Fine. Next night, Houston goes completely cold against the Golden State Warriors.
27 straight misses.
27 straight misses. And I remember, like, and it kind of happened in this game too, Keenan. Like, as you're watching, you see the shots go up and they miss. You don't actually, at least I didn't. I don't actually realize, like, how many shots they're missing. It does seem like they're cold, but you don't realize how cold they are. And I felt the same way in both of the games I just mentioned. I think coming out of those 2 games, especially with, and Keenan, you can do this. If you pulled up that Golden State Rockets game, do you remember how close a game that was? Like,
very close. The Warriors were down at half, and then Steph had a big third. KD had a big fourth, because Stephen was like 27, KD was 29, and like they pulled away at the end. But they were up. I'll pull it up right now. But and also, just to give you more confirmation, you were right. They went 7 of 39 from 3. Boston did in that game 7. Terry Rozier was 0 for 10. Jalen Brown was 3 of 12. Horford missed the 1 he took. Smart off the bench missed 4. He was 1 of 10 from the floor. Tatum was 2 of 6, but Tatum had 24 and 7. And then on the other end, LeBron had 34, 15, and 9. And then Jeff Green had 19 in that game. But so
Celtics lose by what? 6 in that game?
They lost by 8. And it was really a third quarter lapse. And then the fourth quarter, they brought it back. And then LeBron closed the deal.
Yeah. Because again, they were up at one point in that fourth. And then we're thinking the Rockets lose by 8 also in that game.
They lost by
They
lost by 9 in that game. It was a third quarter barrage from Steph because they 33-15 in the third. The Warriors got up. And yeah, the 27 straight threes. Eric Gordon went 2 of 12. Harden went 2 of 13. Trevor Ariza was 0 of 9. The team as a whole was 7 of 44 from 3.
So I asked that because I'll often hear people go, "Oh, such and such team choked," and I don't necessarily think that's fair. Even if you do get open looks, because it's like sometimes you do just go cold, and in the playoffs more than anything. Yeah, you do kind of get tight, and maybe collectively as a team you go cold like they did. And I really, honestly, as you know, Ken, huge Celtics fan at this point. I remember thinking there's a lid on the basket from 3, but it didn't feel like they were as cold as they were. Obviously, they kept missing down the stretch, but it didn't feel like they got tight in that game. That game very much had a flow to it. And I would say the same about the Rockets. 27 straight, I guess it just happens. You collectively get cold as a team. So I wouldn't necessarily say that's a choke either. This game, however, 19 points in the second half, 8 points in the fourth quarter. That has to be a choke. And I don't understand how they got so tight. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about teams going cold? Do you feel like maybe Boston and Houston choked at that time? Like, I feel differently, but
I don't, because, well, one, they were playing against two, obviously, one of the greatest teams ever assembled in the Warriors and one of the greatest players to ever play in LeBron. So, like, they were playing against two really good, like, opponents. That's one. And two, I don't think missing shots is choking, because unless, obviously, depends on the shot. Like, if you have, like, a 10-footer for the win and you're wide open and you just clank it, like, yeah, sure. But, like, when you have open threes, you're in rhythm and you're just missing, you're just missing. Sometimes you just miss. It happens. But if you're not, like the nights where Mike was, say, 5 of 23 or 7 of 24, or Kobe was, I don't think he was choking on those days. I think because he was doing everything the same. Typically for me, choking is when I'm bringing up Harden again, just because he's the one that instantly comes to mind. Harden feels like he plays a different level of game. Yep. LeBron in 2011 was just a completely different player in the finals. He didn't look to shoot. He didn't look to score. He didn't look to be aggressive. He was just not the same. And that's what I deem as a choke, not just shooting bad. Like, if you shoot bad, you shoot bad. It happens. When you do it too many times in a row, like if you do it 10 straight times in the same exact situation, maybe you're like, maybe the moment's too big for you. Maybe every time the pressure gets there. But in this situation here, the Rockets got cold. They got cold. So I don't think they choked. I don't think that. But the Magic, they just started playing different basketball when they started missing shots. So, like, at some 4 of 37 is too much to not be a choke. I'm sorry. 4 of 37?
Never seen anything like it.
Neither have I. Neither have I. Never seen anything close to that.
I think I read a tweet that it was like of real time. It was 45 minutes of real time without a basket. And then at one point in, I think, the first quarter of game 7, whenever someone else scored that wasn't Paolo, that was like the first basket someone had made that wasn't Banchero since like it was like 11:39 in the third quarter of game 6 or something. It was a ridiculous stat. I'm sure I could pull it up, but it was a ridiculous stat. Any more to say about the Magic, or should we move on?
No, we can move on. But I like that was a good question. I like that question of what's a choke and what's not a choke. Because I think people throw around the word choke a little bit too loosely. They think in every situation possible, like, oh, he missed a shot, choker. It's like, come on. Like, if he's taking it and just misses it, you just missed it. I don't think Julian Champagnie choked last night. Like, he had an open 3. It was just short. It's not a choker because he missed a shot. It happens. He misses.
It's going to come up with another person on this list, but I've always wondered that with that scenario, with the team scenario of going cold, because it's like, sometimes it just happens. Like and it's amplified more in the playoffs. I'm sure it happens a lot in the regular season, and we don't even really realize it.
It's kind of the same way baseball rolls. Like, when one person gets a hit, everybody gets a hit. And like when one 3 goes, every 3 goes. When a couple 3s miss, it just starts missing.
Because I can remember specifically in that game 7, 2018.
Yeah.
Again, Celtics look like they're going to win after that Tatum 3.
Yes.
I remember specifically Rozier missed a 3 from the corner that would have been big. And I remember thinking to myself, like, damn, like we just can't buy one, right? Like, I remember thinking we were cold, but I didn't realize how cold we were. You know what I mean? In the moment, I wasn't like, man, we are choking, kind of thing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So, always interesting to have that conversation.
Yep.
Again, these next players, I'm really excited to talk about too, because we can just. I think Embiid's stock has to be up. I absolutely love what I saw out of Joel Embiid down the stretch in that series. Again, I don't want to be that guy. Like, I don't want to just like start repeating stuff on this podcast and people be like, oh, he's saying this like repetitively. But, I was a Celtics fan, and when I was a fan, one of our biggest rivals was the Philadelphia 76ers. But I never actually hated Joel Embiid. I always rooted for him from afar. So now that I'm really not a fan, like it's been great to see what he did in games 5, 6, and 7 of the series. He really took into his own hands. He actually looked comfortable in game 7, where normally he wouldn't. He actually looked comfortable in that game 6 at home as well. Let me get to the point here too. I'll put Philly stock up too. I actually don't have that written down, but I think they need to be after all their playoff demons.
Yeah.
I would not necessarily have the Celtics stock down. I actually don't think I'm not down on the Celtics necessarily. And while we're here talking about this series, maybe I would have Joe Mazzulla's stock down. I don't think he coached a great game or coached a great series to close the series out at all. I feel like a great coach finishes that series off. And I felt like he kept Philly alive with a lot of his decisions. I thought I saw a video with Brian Scalabrine. He made a great point where he said, the secret sauce of the Celtics season was these role players who would come in and give them energy.
Yes.
And he felt they went away from that. He felt they tried to get star driven with Tatum coming back, and it looked more like a couple years ago rather than what they looked like all season. So maybe Missoula stock down, but I don't think the Celtics stock's down per se. And I think Philly stock's up, and I feel like obviously Embiid stock has to be up.
Embiid impressed me a lot. I thought that he looked comfortable. He didn't shy away from any pressure, any moment, he was battling through any ailment, anything at all. He was just wasn't making a big deal of it. Obviously, he was in pain. Like when his leg fell on for a couple times, I was like, oh man, he's probably leaving. Stayed in the game. Yeah, they're just unlucky plays. It wasn't even like injury play. Like it always feels like it happens to those guys who like are plagued by injury. Like they just have the unfortunate things that happen. Like there are times where you just like he have all guys to fall on his knee. Like it just knock on wood. It just never feels like those things happen to LeBron. Because he's just like an iron. Just never feels like it happens to those guys. But then it's
in 23 years never happened kind of thing. Either,
yeah, like he just barely. A few times he's gotten rolled up on. Obviously, he'll just tighten the shoes and go because LeBron can sometimes feel bionic. But it's just those guys that seem to get injured just feel like they always get put in positions to be injured more, and it's just unfortunate because it's not even their fault half the time. But yeah, I loved Embiid. Paul George is another one whose stock really rose for me. Like he looked back to being playoff P, not podcast P or perky P, but overall the Sixers, I think Maxi's stock to me stayed the same, but I think that his stock was still great. I think his stock was great. But overall the Sixers stock up. To me, I don't think it's like the Boston players. I think it might be Boston's play style a little bit, the stock down. And so which would be Joe Mazzulla too. It's just like too many. It's just there's too many three. Like there's so much talent to get to the basket in times. Like they settle too much behind the arc. They just felt like a team that was pressing. And this is a time to talk about Jalen Brown a little bit. Why I have trade packages for Jalen Brown and why I was thinking about it was
time out real quick before we get to JB because he was very next on the list.
Okay,
before we got to JB, I just want to say. Derek White stock down.
Oh, 100%. Like he just
awful series.
Terrible series. Not that he's a bad player or anything, but just terrible series.
He's a key player for the Celtics, and Celtics fans might say no stock down because he'd been shooting poorly going into the playoffs, which is fine, but he shot even more poorly in these playoffs. So Derek White's stock has to be down.
Yeah.
Even though he is a very complimentary player, a player who probably all 30 teams would want on their squad. If we're being
100%.
honest. So stock down, but like it can easily go back up. Jalen Brown stock down.
Yes.
I'll go quickly before you go because I
go.
really want to hear what you say. I actually thought he played really well in Game 7. I loved how he guarded Embiid. That's been a staple of his season, is that he'll guard the other team's best player. But guarding Embiid, like, that's just another level because Embiid's just a freaking monster. But I actually thought he played well in Game 7. Games 1 through 6, he did not play well. Tatum outshined him, which is actually fine because, it looked like they were going to win this series anyway. It really didn't look like it mattered. And you're kind of like, oh, let's just hope Jalen Brown gets his rhythm. He never got his rhythm really until Game 7. And then Keenan, did you see what happened Sunday night? Are you familiar with anything? He had a Twitch stream where this was insane.
Please talk about this because this is leading me into exactly why he's in trade scenarios for me.
Celtics got goddamn Kai Cenat as their friggin' small forward.
Please talk, because this is leading me right into why I think we have to have some trade talks about him.
It was insane. I'll say this before you get to your trade packages. That was one of the most insane things I've ever seen. I thought it was everything I hate about society today, as well as the NBA today. But at the same time, like that specifically, because it was Jalen Brown, I thought it was great content because it was Jalen Brown, because he's one of the best players. Like, that's going to be something we can all laugh at forever. Had he been a lesser player, like whatever. And the fact that he went play by play and was like bitching and complaining, like, it's great. That's real. Like, that was real. Like, he's not trying to create content. Like, he was genuinely that pissed. So, though I hate streaming culture, I actually love all that. And I love the insanity that it happened. I love that it happened like during the Cavaliers-Raptors game. And let me say before you go, Keenan, I don't even necessarily believe Jalen necessarily should be traded. I wouldn't be surprised to see him stick around. But if he were traded after all this, no complaints there either. I think that would be a great trade package for one Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yes,
that'd be a great recoup. Would be Jalen Brown and all NBA players. So can't wait to hear what you've got to say.
So you're right, and I'm not in the Kevin Durant, I feel, needs to be gone.
We're getting there. We'll get
we don't have to talk about it in depth right this second. But Jalen Brown, I would bring up him because I think Kevin Durant needs to be gone from that roster, and they can't field the same roster they brought back. If the Celtics field the same roster next year, they're still going to be a contender. I still think that they have a chance to compete and win a championship next year. So it's not like it's the end of the world if they don't trade Jalen Brown. Jalen Brown saying this was my favorite season of my career when you lost after being up 3-1 in the first round and you lose a Game 7 at home seems insane. And that's
when he's won an NBA championship.
When he's won an NBA champ, not just an NBA championship, a Finals MVP. So you were the best player on the floor for either team, arguably, in that series. And you're telling me that your round one exit when you blew a 3-1 lead is your favorite season? That is why. That's basically saying subliminally, hey, I like when I'm not second to Jason Tatum. Because he was second to Jason Tatum when it came to the playoffs, because Tatum was playing better than he was. He deserved to be second to Tatum. Tatum looked great. And that's where you get into these trade packages with Jalen Brown, where you start looking and you're like, okay, hey, Denver, what does Jamal Murray and Bruce Brown look like, maybe? Or, hey, I've got a few. I didn't put the Giannis one there because I think that was the initial one that everyone's going to go to, and I think it would work. So, Jalen Brown, Giannis, I think that trade package would work. Then it was the Jalen Brown, Devin Booker. I was like, Devin Booker as a number 2, he fits that more. He doesn't have to try to lead a team. Jalen Brown clearly wants to lead a team and be the one, be the guy. Little bit better defender than Devin Booker is. You can go out there, get it. So I was like, I think that would work more. So I found that interesting. The Jamal Murray one was the Nuggets needing more athleticism on the perimeter. You still get that secondary score. You have Jokic playing alongside of him. And then for the Celtics, you have a guy who can get to the mid-range, get his own shot, create. And then you get a Bruce Brown who can play, who can do a little bit of everything, do a little dirty. Where I don't know if that's exactly all the trades that I've tried work. You'd add picks or whatever. Third one, I got two other ones that are kind of a little crazier, but like interesting. Around Bam Adebayo and Davion Mitchell, and maybe something else, and maybe some picks thrown in there too. Jalen Brown goes to obviously Miami, so Miami has their lineup. They got Tyler Hero, they've got Khalil Ware, which is why I have Bam in the trade, because Miami at this point they're just going to rotate between being a decent to good team. If they're not going to add anymore, they're not going to go deep in the playoffs, but they're never going to be bad. They feel Pittsburgh Steelerish, where they're just going to rotate between being a decent to good team and maybe do something.
They're a player away. We got to remember they're 2 or 3 seasons removed from a finals.
And they're right now. They're a player away, and it just depends. Can they get that ball?
Yeah, they went through a Jimmy Butler saga, but you're right. They are in that position where they're a good team, but like they're either going to need to hit on their draft or, like you said, trade for a player, free agency.
And I think that with the way Khalil Ware has developed, that you can have him at your 5, you have Jokic, and you can trade Bam. Because Jalen Brown then gives you Jalen Brown gives you a higher ceiling. And then for the Celtics, you get a big who can play defense, but it's also versatile on the outside. Davion Mitchell's a guard that you have that can also shoot a bit. He shot 39% from 3 last year. So I think that could work for the Celtics and could work for the Heat. Go on.
I completely agree. I can't believe I haven't brought this up the entire season. Have you seen Khalil Ware's GOAT list, his top 5?
I don't remember it. No. What was his GOAT list?
Let me pull it up. I could give you some. I know Wilt's on there, and I know Kobe's on there. Mm-hmm. But then it gets crazy after that. And I could tell you number 1, but I feel like it would ruin the build-up. And I want your live reaction to Khalil Ware's top 5 NBA players ever.
Okay, I'm gonna put Wilt. Gotta put Kobe.
Top 4. Sorry.
I would say MJ. But
I would say MJ, but I heard that some of his stats was false.
Oh, you saw the Tom Haberstroh report about the defensive player of the year. All right, so we're taking MJ off the Mount Rushmore for you.
Got Will, Kobe. You know what? I'm gonna put Ant in there.
You're putting Anthony Edwards on there already. All right, we got Anthony Edwards, and who's your 4th?
For my 4th, I'm gonna say Bam.
He's on to something. This was pre-83 point game, Dan.
He knew. Okay, but
I'll put Bam up there, number 1.
I'll put Bam there. But honestly, I think Bam to the Celtics, it would fit perfectly. So he doesn't have to be the best player. He could be a role player, can fit defensively, adds to it, gives a little bit of a mid-range game. Guys, I think that could work perfectly for them if they got Bam, Tatum, with others. I
actually saw that trade. Sorry, I actually saw that trade on Twitter, and it was only Bam, no Davion, and there was like more players involved for Boston. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I actually like that trade better with Bam and Davion. I think Celtics fans would love Davion Mitchell, and Bam would be anywhere.
And obviously, if you're going player for player, clearly Jalen Brown's better than Bam at this moment in time. So like, you'd have to give more on the Heat side, in my opinion. And then I think you might have to throw in a pick or 2 there. I didn't worry about the picks in this. I more so was just worried about the players.
I think that's adequate. I think that's a great haulback for Jalen Brown, Bam, and Davion. I think that's because
I think Davion. Because Davion could start for you, so you can still keep Pritchard off the bench if you wanted to get that second unit spark. You got Hugo. Yeah, they need a center. You can now Cade comes off the bench. Yep. So I thought that would work for the Celtics to give them a little bit more diversity in their lineup. And then this one was just an interesting one that I thought to myself, what about Zion and Trey Murphy?
Ooh. Zion and Trey Murphy? I would say just Trey Murphy. Both? That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot.
You're right. It might be Zion and Herb Jones.
If you would have
they might keep Trey.
Yeah, Zion and Herb Jones.
Probably Zion and Herb
Zion
Jones.
for Jalen Brown would be insane. I don't think Brad would ever do it. I can't picture Brad Stevens doing that. But if it was Zion and let me tell you this.
Probably Herb Jones.
Danny Ainge would absolutely make the Zion and Herb Jones for Jalen Brown trade. If he was like out on Jalen Brown, he absolutely would buy stock in Zion Williamson. I can't picture Brad doing that with Zion. I could picture Trey and Herb Jones. I could absolutely picture that. Zion, that would break NBA Twitter in July if that happens. I would love it. I would love it. That would be insane.
I'm just saying.
Zion and Trey Murphy though, that's like a Hall of Fame all. That's like
that is a little much. It'd probably be Zion and Herb Jones. You're right. I'm glad you talked me down from that. But Zion and Herb Jones for Jalen Brown. I'm just saying. For the Pelicans, you get like a legitimate guy who's going to be out there for many games. You've got a star who is consistent. Plus, if you're going to, in this scenario, you have him and Trey Murphy. That can work. When Jeremiah Fears, with Derek Queen, that can work. And then for the Celtics, you don't need Hall of Fame potential Zion to be successful and win. You need just Zion to do what he's been doing, just 21 and 6, or totally to get up to 7 or 8 rebounds on efficient inside shooting. And now you've got an inside presence. That pick and roll can be nasty. And then you've got Herb Jones, a nice 3-and-D guy who could really go in there and play. I'm just saying, if we're talking about trading Jalen Brown, I'm looking at it. And there's so many other teams out there. I could honestly put a trade package for every single team for Jalen Brown. But like
what you brought up, Keenan, is exactly what I would want back if I'm a GM. And if I'm actually actively shopping Jalen Brown, I'd want a Devin Booker back. I'd want a Bam Adebayo and a player and picks back. I would want
Jamal Murray, maybe Bruce Brown if you do it. Or
Jamal Murray's funny. Jamal Murray's funny because that's who I remember. That was their big thing. Are we taking Jamal or are we taking Jalen in their draft? I think that would have been 2016 or 17. But I remember those were the two that they were really looking at. And obviously Jalen Brown was their guy. I'm going to go because we're still on stock. I got 2 players left and you brought one player up. And I had him with 3 arrows down at one point in the series, and that was Kevin Durant. And I feel like more players' stock is down than him. And clearly he was legitimately injured. You've already said on this podcast about 15 minutes ago that he needs to be moved.
Yes.
So I still think his stock is down, even with the injury, because we've gotten nothing since Golden State. Literally 100%. Nothing since Golden State. I don't know if I agree. I think Houston could run it back with him. What I did not expect from Kevin Durant, I was thinking about this in the car the other day, and I was like, wow, I can't believe of all players, I compared Kevin Durant to him. Kevin Durant's starting to remind me of, do you want to take a guess here? Like we did with Derek Harper, No, not Derek Harper. Why can't I remember this motherfucker? Dylan. I was talking about Derek Harper from the Knicks. Dylan Harper. Dylan Harper and Kobe. Do you want to take a guess who I'm comparing Kevin Durant? It's not Harden.
I don't have it. I don't.
What if I told you it was a different sport?
Okay. So now we're going football, I'm assuming.
Not necessarily football, but it could be.
I don't know.
I never in my life expected to compare Kevin Durant to Terrell Owens. I never in my life, because I mean that's what it's starting to be, man. Westbrook was a scapegoat in OKC. It was happy times. It was never there was never bad blood between Westbrook and Durant, even when they were there. Even when people really tried to tear them apart, it always seemed like a happy vibe going into any OKC season, even coming out of OKC seasons when their playoff failures were,
the only time it was semi-down was really when they blew the 3-1 lead to the Warriors, and that was the summer Durant said, I'm out, see ya.
Yeah, and I actually remember, Keaton, just for the sake of this, do you remember the show Open Court on NBA TV?
Yes.
It was one of my favorites, and I remember going into the 2016 season, obviously the Warriors just came off a win, and I don't think the Thunder had a great season the season before. It might have been the season where Durant got injured, and it was only Westbrook.
And 14-15, yeah, because 13-14 was the year that Westbrook was hurt and Durant was there because that was his MVP season. And then 14-15, that was the year Durant was hurt.
So I remember going into that 16 season, I remember watching Open Court, and I remember Reggie Miller picked the Thunder to come out of the West, and he said, He's like, yeah, he's like at UCLA, which Westbrook went to UCLA. He goes, you know, these UCLA runs in the summer. He's like, the whole entire OKC team is there practicing every day. He's like, I think they're coming out of the West. He's like, they got the chemistry, and that's always stuck with me, you know. And again, nothing pre Golden State ever suggested Durant was a diva, and nothing really even during his Golden State run up until years, I would say 2 and 3. Really suggested he was a diva with Golden State. And that team was very unhappy, culminating in a fight between him and Draymond at the Clippers.
I think it wasn't Toronto Raptors. Was it a Clippers game?
It was a Clippers game.
I don't know why I think I remember them drawing in a Toronto Raptors game too.
Probably happened. I mean, they definitely went at it multiple times.
But yeah, no, there was the didn't pass it up to him. They go to overtime and they go back and forth.
So we have the Draymond and Durant fight, which was Draymond's fault, but like clearly Durant made some comments prior to that too about Steph and just weird stuff all around from Durant post the first season.
Because I think they wanted him to like accept. He wanted the Warriors to accept him like he was going to accept. That was never going to happen. They obviously like the Heat brought in LeBron. That was still Wade County. Like that was always going to be Wade County. The Warriors were always going to be Steph Curry. That just was never going to take that away from him. So like LeBron knew that coming. Obviously they embraced LeBron, but like LeBron knew he wasn't upstaging Wade County. That was Wade County. Like this is how it is. He homegrown players, and Durant for some reason didn't understand that. Well, I'm going to be respected just like Steph. Yeah, you're respected, but it's not the same. You're just never the same when you're born there, pretty much.
Correct. And then he goes to Brooklyn, and it was drama the entire time there. Even during success, it was drama the entire time there. Got Steve Nash fired. Then he goes to Phoenix, completely unhappy the entire time there. They never did anything they were supposed to do in Phoenix. Then he comes to Houston, and everything's all good up until All-Star Sunday, or, you know, Twitter file, or the KD files, I should say, break open and get leaked. And the team was never the same, as we found out, which, you know, go figure. So because of that, I could see your scenario where he does get traded. I understand that. I also think there's a world where they just run it back and they get Van Vliet and they add whoever this offseason, and they probably could still contend next year. But, I mean, this is now the 4th straight team where it's like you can definitely pinpoint the chemistry on Kevin Durant. And I've said it before this, he's the weirdest NBA player ever to me. I can't believe it, aside from Kawhi probably. But
I was about to say him and Kawhi. but
at
yes.
least Kawhi's like been consistently like quiet and, you know, oh, I'm injured, but like I'm still great. Kawhi's been that his whole career. Kevin Durant, and you know this, obviously, like the difference between him and OKC to everything after OKC is such a personality change. And I don't understand why he's so unhappy. And he's very clearly way too online and paying attention to what people say about him. It's where do you go from here? Because, you know, if you invest in this guy and let's say what you do believe could happen or should happen does happen and he gets traded this offseason, or he gets moved off from, what are you actually giving up for this guy who is proven to be a locker room cancer at this point? What do you do with this guy?
It would have to be, in this one, I didn't put trade packages together for Kevin Durant. I figured that this would be more of my off-season one. Jalen Brown was just instantly to my head. I was like, because that's someone that a lot of people are still going to want. And his comments just instantly drove me to like, go be the number one somewhere. like you want to go be the number one somewhere so bad that unless if it's Denver and you're with Jokic, but you still get the ball, like go be the number one somewhere. When it comes to Durant, it has to be a team like the Warriors, an aging team that's willing to get rid of assets because they want to utilize the end of the era of Steph, or there has to be a team like that, because there's no reason why like a Chicago Bulls would just give up some assets for Kevin Durant. What, just to put some butts in some seats? Like what? Like, does that even make sense?
Oh my God, that would be such cruel punishment. That
like,
he might deserve it.
You know what I'm saying?
He might deserve it.
Like he might see a Wizards trade I could see like a Trae Young, because that's something that would happen with Durant back home, and then you get a Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, Trae Young centric, and then maybe you get back, I don't know, Trey Johnson, Keyshawn George, couple others. I don't really know, because no one's going to be giving up a lot for that, for Kevin Durant, because it's for a fickle guy who's for 1 or 2 years, maybe, who you don't know what his temperament's going to be on a day-to-day basis. Like, how can you sell that?
Do you believe his stock is as low as it's ever been?
Yeah. Why wouldn't? I mean, he's obviously old. He's as old as he's obviously ever been in the league, and he's got as less much. No, it's not like you're gaining years with him. If he was 27 or 28, you'd be like, okay, maybe this is here, but we have a runway to deal with all this stuff. You've got 2 years probably of Durant. If he wants to play longer, he wants to play longer. But like realistically, you're like, oh, we've got probably 2 years of Kevin Durant. So what team is out there that's really close, that has some assets to give up, that they're not too fond of or they don't care to lose for a small portion that they feel Kevin Durant can just boost them? That is a really tough ask, to just be like, hey, this is the team.
I would sign up for all the bullshit that KD and the Warriors Part 2 would bring. Like KD and Draymond Part 2, sign me up immediately for all.
So like that's what I'm saying. Like that the Warriors would be the team.
You're
like,
missing
they have
one.
To be the
you're
team.
missing one team, and it's right there. It's right in your face, Keenan. They're playing in Game 1 right now.
But you're thinking the Cavs, or is that the Pistons, or your Lakers?
No. The Los Angeles Lakers.
Okay, sorry, you said right. Yes. Yeah, I mean, that would work too, but also another guy, I don't know if what I'm hopeful for is LeBron, Durant, and Steph just say, hey, let's go to Golden State and run it for a year. That's my hope, because that would be content mania. Every day would be content. But because I honestly think now, after watching this, and we could talk about more, that like LeBron's in the sense of like, I got more in the tank than I thought. Because he's looking like he's controlling series, and like the way he's playing. Obviously, he was playing against a Rockets team that just couldn't score. And I'm not going to make it sound like now, in hindsight, like they never had a chance. Because I thought the Rockets were going to win even if you would have told me Kevin Durant was out for the series, I would have said before the series it probably goes 6-ish. But I think that the Rockets are going to win the series. So I would have been wrong there anyway. I probably would have leaned the Rockets. And then after game 1, and I would have saw how inept their offense really looked, I would have been like, probably was wrong on that one. But anyways, so it's just seeing LeBron in the way that he's been playing and the way he still wants to play basketball. I think, like, I've talked myself into the Warriors because he fits perfectly in that Draymond Green role. And then now I've seen Kevin Durant on the outside and just run back to 2024 Olympics, guys. Run it up. And like, hey, OKC, hey, San Antonio, old men are in town. Try us. I would side.
I guess
Al
maybe
Horford, Draymond. Yeah,
you
you're
might
right.
be able to convince me of the Clippers.
You see, like, those are the teams. It has to be an old team that has 2 years. And then you could sign up for Kevin Durant. But
because the Clippers got some youth too, you know? Clippers are probably in a better spot age-wise than the Warriors. Warriors just need athletes. Warriors and Nuggets each need athletes.
And Boston also needs a couple athletes too, which is also why I think you might. They
kind of got them. I think they need a creator. They need one more creator because they're 3-and-D guys. They can bring it.
It's where also you think, did you need to make that Vooch trade? Anthony Simons feels like Anthony Simons feels like he could have been exactly what you needed. You know, that one extra creator who's pretty athletic. Like he just feels like what he would have been.
I would have loved to have seen them gone super small and done like Pritchard, Simons, Jalen, Jason, and then Cade or whoever, or even play Tatum at the 5. It would have been cool to see because Vucevic was a fucking zero. It was just, I thought that was I kind of liked it because I'm like, all right, Vooch might have something left, but if he doesn't, like, it's a risk because Simons is legit good for any team.
Yeah.
It would have been much cooler to see Simons play in that series than Vooch.
I think they possibly get out of that series if he's there. Because I just think that he's like a guy who can. He would have. I think he gives more than Vooch. So not that it would have been really difficult to give more than Vooch did in the series.
And
so
we didn't even talk about. We didn't even talk about in that series. I didn't bring it up the other night, and we haven't brought it up yet. Like Tatum was injured, and more than that, Mazzulla said he was ready to go, and then Tatum and his trainer, which I guess would be Drew Hanlon, they kind of ruled him out of that game, which is very interesting, especially given his obviously very recent injury history. So I just want to throw that out there. Keen, I have one last player, and I think it'll. Well, first of all, I led this podcast saying that we had stock and that we had like off-season teams to talk about from round one. But we've kind of touched on them all, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would pretty much. Yeah.
I have one more player.
There's one player that if you don't bring up now that I want to talk about. But
okay, so
yes.
I'll bring up this player, and then we can bring up whoever your last player is. This player I don't have an up or down stock. I really want to hear what you have for thoughts on him because I've talked about him. And that is one Nikola Jokic. I don't have stock up or stock down. He obviously didn't play well. This is obviously someone who has been a playoff performer. He really still got his stats, but the field goal percentage obviously wasn't there. And you can obviously say if he plays better, they probably win some of these games because they were swing games. You know, they weren't losing by 20 in this series. And the last thing I want to say, Keenan, before you go, it's kind of on the topic with our choking section earlier. Like what's the anatomy of a choke? What defines a choke? I thought it was very interesting. I saw a Twitter poll Sunday maybe, and it was like, who went out more sad? And it was like the Hawks losing by however many they lost, by the Magic with their game 6 and game 7. There was one other team on there. Maybe it was the Rockets. I don't know. No, it was Boston. Boston losing 3-1. And then it was the Nuggets losing to the Timberwolves. And overwhelmingly, the leader was the Nuggets losing to the Timberwolves. And I thought that was insane. And I thought the hate, and I mentioned this last week in the pod, I think the hate is so forced with Jokic that he's been getting. I've seen comparisons to 2011 LeBron, which is insane because exactly like you said earlier, Keenan, the difference would be that Jokic is shooting and missing, and LeBron didn't even try to shoot. And James Harden in game 6s and game 7s doesn't even try to look at the rim oftentimes when he's the number one guy. It's been a bit different as a role player.
Rudy Gobert played defensively out of his mind. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Jokic Jokic couldn't hit a 3, and that's been in multiple postseasons. It's not even just this year.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's insane. Again, this is mostly Twitter. I haven't heard this from I don't watch ESPN, but I haven't heard this from like national media. I haven't heard this from the podcast I listen to. But
most of the national media is more on the legacy of Jokic, like of him. Because everything was more so creeping into that top 10 all time and kind of halting that. That was more so where the national media went. They didn't say like he choked. At least unless I didn't see it. So like
well, so again, I shouldn't even really be paying attention to this NBA Twitter, but like their whole thing is like he lost to the Timberwolves backups, which is like not all the way true. They got 3 wins basically with Ant in all those games. Ant was out basically that fourth quarter of that third win. And then, the Nuggets got the win in game 5 and they got outplayed in game 6. But again, I agree with you. I think if Jokic simply shoots better, maybe they don't win the series, but we probably get a game 7. If Aaron Gordon's in that series, maybe they just win altogether. Last thing I'll throw out at you before you respond. Actually, no, I'm going to hold it. I'll respond to that after. You go ahead. You respond to everything I just said.
It was more so...
And, excuse me, sorry, just real quick.
There you go.
Also tell me if you believe his stock should go up or down or stay the same.
Stay the same for me.
Okay.
Obviously, I don't think it goes up, but I also don't think it goes down. He's still a top 3 player in the world. He's still Jokic. It's still that.
He has officially relinquished the title, though. He is no longer...
no, I was going to say... that the only way he would be the best player in the world still would be if Wemby and Shea both played bad and lost in this round. Yep. The only way he could still keep it. And even if that happened, we might have to look at Anthony Edwards. Because if Ant got to the finals and won or something, maybe at this point you'd be back-to-back conference finals and then a champion, whatever the case may be. But he's not the best player in the world. He doesn't have that belt right now. But when it comes to that, I would say out of all four, they have probably maybe the second most disappointing loss. Not the saddest, but disappointing because they're in prime position to get to the second round, and they were missing Ant. Obviously, in Game 6, he plays better. If Jamal Murray plays better, they win that game. Then they should win a Game 7 at home when they have no Ant. But then Boston to me is the most going out sorry, sad. You can't I don't know. To me, out of all four of those, I think because you said the Magic were in there. Never mind. The Magic won.
Magic would be one for me as well.
No, the Magic. I was trying to think of all the teams. I'd go Magic, Boston, then I'd go the Nuggets, then I'd go Atlanta. I guess because the expectations too of all of them. But anyways, for Jokic and the Nuggets, I think overall they're in a weird situation because their team has run its course to me, where I think they need just a little bit of change. Aaron Gordon, if he was there, he'd probably win, but he's been so injured over the last few years. Is he going to get healthier, getting older in his age? He's already kind of, the way he plays, those guys don't typically age great. So it's difficult to have to bank on, hey, we're an Aaron Gordon or a Peyton Watson away from us being great. It feels like you're weird. I feel like you need to tweak the roster a little bit. And this has been a 6-year run, obviously, because since Jokic has really been an MVP top 2 finalist, they've gotten to 2 conference finals, they've won a championship, they've been out in the second round a few times, they've gone out in the first round a few times. Some of those are due to injury. So I don't the Hearts. What's interesting because did Jokic, has he underachieved, has he overachieved, or what's his stock up, stock down, or even on just the last 6 years of his career when it comes to postseason success? It's weird because I wouldn't say stock down, but I also can't say stock up because a guy like that you would assume would have 2. And then you were up 20 in a Game 7 on the Timberwolves and blew it. And then you would have played a Mavericks team that had no one to stop you. I mean, obviously Derek Lively and them, but they would have been the favorites there. And then I think they give Boston a tougher series, and Boston might not even win that series. I think the Nuggets would have. So I think that overall the Nuggets need to retool, and I think that at this point in time, the Nuggets have not underachieved, but they can feel a little disappointed with how the last few years have gone because I feel like they should have came out with 2 championships.
I both agree and disagree with a few things you said. I disagree with the championship aspects just because
it's been a difficult era for him too. So I get it.
This era doesn't seem like it. I don't think the Thunder are winning it this year. And if the Thunder let's say the Thunder do repeat and they're the team that does get 2 out of this era, no way in hell do I think they're three-peating. And I really don't think they're winning this year. So if they don't repeat, then who does repeat?
Yeah.
And then you got Wemby coming. Fair. Wemby's the one who really has dynasty written all over him for very obvious reasons, right? So
yeah. 12 blocks. We haven't mentioned 11, 15, 5, and 12. And he played bad offensively, but still 12 blocks is insane.
Yes. Well, yeah, because we briefly do got to touch on last night's games. So I disagree with the rings thing. I actually disagree with the roster. I love their roster. I thought their roster was one of my favorite rosters in the league. Here's where they're fucked up, though. Here's where they're fucked going forward. Like you said, Aaron Gordon, that's going to be an ongoing issue, and I might have a remedy for that. Peyton Watson, they fucked up because they gave Christian Brown the extension, and now they either let Peyton Watson walk or they can pay him, but that'll be some apron issues, which I think they should do.
So their full healthy roster, 100% healthy. That I do like that. So I don't think their roster construction has been bad. I just think at this point with no Aaron Gordon, with no Peyton Watson, they're missing athletes. And then they're playing against the Timberwolves, all athletes. Spurs, athletes. Thunder, athletes. So And they're not just obviously athletes. They're guys who play basketball but are athletic. So that's where I think they need to maybe tool their roster. But them fully healthy, I agree with you. I like their roster a lot because when Aaron Gordon's playing right and Peyton Watson's playing right, then they've got the athletes to combat with all that. So
I think they should keep Peyton Watson, bite the bullet with that, whatever it means they have to do, whether that means trading Christian Brown or keeping both. And, again, paying more with the tax or going to the first apron, whatever the hell it actually is, because I don't know. I don't have it all in front of me. Aaron Gordon, Keenan, as we mentioned, he's oft injured. He's extremely important, and his game has grown so much in the last 2 years.
yeah.
So he's valuable to any team. I'm sure you've seen this, and I'm sure you'll see this all summer. But, I can't get it out of my mind, and I kind of love this pairing with Jokic. Man, what if they did AG for AD? What if it was Anthony Davis? He's off injured too, but, it's fucking Anthony Davis. And Aaron Gordon's definitely better three-point shooter. He's definitely a better three-point shooter than AD, but everything else, AD does better. He's still an elite rim protector. Him playing that lob position with Jokic, that would be unreal. If you could get 50 games and a postseason out of Anthony Davis, you're in the mix in a way you're not really in the mix with Aaron Gordon. And I think he's don't get me wrong, because I think Aaron Gordon's actually Draymond Green levels of role player. I think that highly of him as of the last few years when he's healthy.
Yeah.
But Anthony Davis, if he's still got athleticism and he can still play elite defense for you and he can still catch lobs, and he can still do one-on-one scoring, I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
I know.
It's
I
a
think it'd
risk.
be great. It just
High risk, high reward.
Yeah. No, I think if he's actually on, it'd be great for sure. I don't know if Washington does that, obviously, because I haven't seen one dribble of Anthony Davis on the court. So
He's as of the last 2 weeks, he's already been pushing for a trade. He is very actively trying not to be there. So that's one of the teams. That's one of the teams that would come to my mind for Anthony Davis.
I don't disagree.
You had one last player.
Yeah, stock up. We talked about everybody on the team but this player pretty much, and it's Cade Cunningham. Stock up. I'm all the way there on Cade. I've been he's been, the more and more watching him, he's been creeping. God,
Max Strus is taking over this third quarter.
No, he is. But again, gosh, dog, this is a second. Sorry, you're 2 seconds behind me. You'll see what I'm talking about in just a second, I think.
I was actually Holland. Yeah. I was actually watching the Lakers game because Lakers are competing right now. It's 18-17. They're up.
I think I said it in the beginning of the pod. This is going to be the game LeBron goes for. He's already got 10. He's going for this game. That's where it's going. And they're doubling Shea on every touch the same way they did with Durant. They're going to just basically say, hey, Chet, you go one-on-one on whomever. We're going to allow you to try to beat us. And we'll see how it works. It's not a bad defensive strategy to just make Chet go off. But yeah, Cade Cunningham is the guy. Stock up.
I think that's fair.
He's creeping up the top 10 in the NBA. He just continues to get higher and higher on that list for me. And he's sitting right next to Anthony Edwards and Jason Tatum for the best American in the league. Because I think it's really between them, and then it's also where do you put Giannis too? Because Giannis obviously, when healthy, when on the floor, can you name 5 better? No, but then at the same time, how many playoffs are you going to miss and not be really a big part of before we're you may have to slide a bit? So Giannis is just one of those difficult ones because he hasn't.
Giannis is in the same position that KG was before he went to Boston.
Yeah, we haven't seen him out of the first round in 4 years. Because last year he lost to the Pacers in the first round. The year before he lost to the Heat in the first round.
And was injured. He was injured in the Heat series. He came back and lost the first round of the Heat. And
so it's 23 and then 24.
He was injured last year too with the Pacers. But yeah, the last time we saw him out of the first round was 2022 versus the Boston Celtics.
So and you're still a top 5 guy, I get it both ways. Player, it's hard to name 5 better, but if someone said he's my 8th guy, I can't even be really all that mad. We haven't seen it.
You kind of have to put Ant ahead of him now, right?
Yeah, like we haven't seen it. And like if Cade goes to the conference finals or forbid the finals, it's hard for me to say no, Giannis is better than Cade when Giannis hasn't been able to stay on the floor and Cade's been the only driving real engine for that team and they're in the finals. So like that's obviously hypothetical moving forward, but no, Cade is moving up that top 10 list for me comfortably and at like nowhere below 7. And he's creeping up close to the top 5. Like he is, I love the way he's been playing. He plays with such control, such pace and just is always getting his own shot. And there's not an offense that asks more of a single player than Cade. Like he has to do everything. He has to generate so much offense for that team. And then he plays defense. So It's one of those things where I'm just gaining so much respect for him in these playoffs. They were down 3-1, and he said, okay, Paulo's going to try to go end the series here. Let me go put up 45 myself. And then he just continue so those are just the moments where you see that, like, that's the NBA playoffs where you're like, okay, Cade, are you really a first team all NBA kind of guy? Or are you just like a really good, but you kind of take that little step? And no, he's all there.
I apparently, just based off this third and fourth quarter, have to put Strus stock up because, man, every time I look up at this Cavs Pistons game, it's Max Strus making a play.
No, he's blanket. I mean, he's getting back to 2023 when he was big for the Heat. Like he's got 19 right now, 7 of 12 from the floor, 4 of 7 from 3.
So I completely agree with you, and I should have put Cade on there because this was his playoff debut. Right? They weren't in it last year.
No, last year he played. Last year he played the Knicks. They lost in 6.
Right.
Because they could have won a game 7. That Malik Beasley play in the corner.
And he played well last season, and he's taken another step this year. And we got Schroeder and Duncan Robinson going at it. This is gonna be a great series. This is gonna be the underrated series out of the 4 Cavs Pistons. Like it should go 7. It'll definitely at least go 6.
Yeah.
But with Cade, I should have added him because it is a step up from last year. It's funny because you mentioned Maxey earlier, Keenan. I did not include Maxey because I feel like even when he has been in the postseason, namely Sixers Knicks a couple years ago, first round, Sixers lost, but Maxey was incredible in that series and kept their season alive with a deep 3. So like this was par for the course with Maxey. I actually thought Maxey kind of underperformed in some of the games with the Celtics, including last night against the Knicks. He didn't play well, but neither did the whole Sixers team. So I completely agree with you on Cade. Definitely stock up. And I completely agree with you. He's throwing his name in the hat for best American player. I remember Keenan because, I don't pay attention to college basketball at all. So I didn't really know of Cade Cunningham up until like pre-draft stuff.
Yep.
And he's 6'7". He's a 6'7" point guard. And I remember seeing his stats because he has all around stats. He rebounds, he passes, he scores. And he plays with such slow pace. Not even slow pace, but like his own pace, I should say.
Yep.
I'm like, man, he's kind of like an American Luka Doncic. And they have 2 different play styles, but like he ultimately has a lot of Luka Doncic-esque stats with the rebounds and assists. But Luka's obviously closer to Harden, and Cade just, I don't know. Cade just
32, 6, and 7 last series.
Yeah,
that'll get it done.
Cade just has
that'll get it done.
Repeat that again. I didn't hear that. What do you?
32
average?
points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. I'll get it done.
Man. He's that boy. He's bringing the Motor City back. That's for damn sure. Ken, last thing. I don't think we have much to say. Well, give me a prediction for tomorrow. Game 2, Knicks Sixers. Do you think the Sixers tied up, or do you think the Knicks go up 2-0?
I think it's 2-2 going back to New York in Game 5, and I actually think it's going to be a home. So I think the Knicks win Game 2, the Sixers win Game 3 and Game 4, and then we go back to New York Game 5. And I think the Spurs do take a tough Game 2.
So then tell me this. You had the Lakers winning 1. Do you think that one is tonight? Do you think they go up 1-0? Or do you think it's at home?
It's either Game 1 or Game 3. It was always one circled in my head. It was this one or Game 3. because they are down 2-0. You know what? I don't think I'll say this game. I'll just say it, even though I think I'm leaning more game 3, but probably actually, I'm going to lean game 3. They're going to win game 3, and then the Thunder will win game 4, and then they'll close it in 5.
Okay. And I actually had Cavs in 6, and you had Pistons in 6. But watching this game right now, out of the corner of my eye, it looks very 7-game series to me.
Oh,
the intensity that's being played right now is like incredible. So
and we might get bar for bar Donovan Mitchell Cade game.
We will.
That looks.
So let me say
like
this.
It's in the cards.
Let me say this. We're inching towards 9 minutes to go. We're just under 10 minutes to go, actually, in this game. We do got to get out of here. But as you just said, that was the highlight of the Ron Holland shot right there. Mm-hmm. As you just said, you got the Knicks going up 2-0 tomorrow.
Yep.
You got the Lakers not winning this game. I don't even know what game the Lakers would win. I actually just gave one out of respect. I don't really know whether it's game 1, 3, or 4. I could even see game 4. I could even see game 4, honestly. So
yeah,
we'll
if they're down 0-3, maybe, yeah. But I think game 1.
I'm gonna say this:
game 1-3.
If the Sixers are gonna win in 7, like I predict, they got to win tomorrow. I cannot wait to see how that series shakes out. If it really is 2-2 going into game 5, I don't know. I might just say fuck the Jay-Z concerts and try to buy a ticket to a Knicks Sixers game, because I mean, I love this series. I would have loved it if it was Celtics Knicks, Sixers. Like, I don't know. I just see fireworks all around. I hope it's not a 5-game series.
So the last thing I want to say real quick before I sorry to interrupt you is I'm actually semi glad the Celtics are out. I didn't find them very fun to watch when they're just jacking a bunch of sometimes their style's a little boring. I guess it's because like a lot of these teams now, I mean, they shoot the 3, don't get me wrong, but their team's not all predicated on the 3s, like all of these teams that we're watching advance. And that might sound so old school and boring of me, but I don't know. There are just some times where I watch the Celtics, I'm like, we had a layup. We passed it for a 3. I get 3s more than 2, but
they literally did that with Jalen Brown missing Cade on a dunk, and they got it to a wide open Pritchard in the corner, and that kind of swung the game. They missed that and actually missed 2 other looks after that, but they had Cade for a dunk. I'm glad.
So I guess I just stopped there because like the Sixers were more fun to watch in that series with Embiid.
I agree. I'm glad you said that, Keenan, because there was a clip.
Did you see Jalen Williams' fall? He had the ball in the break. He had the ball in the break and just.
Depends where. Oh, okay. I'm about to see it right now. Oh man, that was very Daniel Jones. That was Daniel Jones on Monday Night Football.
Oh man. Okay, sorry.
Real quick, you clipped up actually me going on a rant about the Celtics, saying they love.
Yeah.
This is funny. I said there's 2 things the Celtics love nothing more than to do, and I said one is showing up way too cool for school and acting like the game doesn't matter. And I actually never even got to point 2, Keenan, because I continued that rant. Point 2 would be exactly what you said. The second thing they love, Keenan, is jacking up 3s. They're like, Keenan, you've seen these kids. We did a basketball camp. You've seen these kids. I got a layup. I want a 3. They're like the fucking junior high team that loves 3s. They're enamored with 3s. They love the 3-point shot so much. It's unreal. And you'd figure if I'm saying that, you'd figure that'd be like the Steph Clay Warriors, right? Oh, they love nothing more than a 3. Celtics do not give a fuck about layups if there's a wide open 3.
But the thing is, the Warriors didn't actually just focus on the 3. Obviously, they utilized the 3 to get there are so many times Steph sets a back screen and it's a wide open Sean Livingston dunk because both roll with Steph out to the 3. But the Warriors weren't just 3 dependent. Obviously, when you have Steph and Clay, I hope you shoot them.
And the Celtics have the talent to not be 3 dependent. That's the frustrating thing about them.
Yeah, Payton Pritchard can get to the mid range. So can Jalen Brown. So can Jason Tatum. They have Cade, who's pretty good around the basket. There's just so many ways that they can score outside of needing. Hey, we're gonna just jack up a 3. And so sometimes they're just boring to watch. They really are. It's just not that fun. The Thunder, they don't predicate themselves at the three. Obviously, all teams, you need threes. You need to space the floor. And this isn't anti-3, obviously. But this is more so just, if the Nuggets need a bucket, what are they doing?
Going to Jokic.
It's not just it may be a 3 off of a double team Jokic kick, good shot. They're not just hunting a 3. The Spurs aren't hunting a 3. The Thunder aren't hunting a 3. The Lakers aren't hunting a 3. None of the teams left are just hunting 3s. Not a one.
Real quick.
Not a one.
Real quick, because we got to go. We're inching towards an hour 40. T-Wolves Spurs. T-Wolves stole game 1.
Yep.
Wemby, I just want to say this real quick. Give me your prediction first for game 2. Do you think they tie it up or do they go down 2-0?
I think they tie it up. They win game 3. Wolves win game 4. We go 2-2 going back to San Antonio.
I think San Antonio wins game 3.
I have San Antonio game 3, Wolves game 4.
I'm gonna go, snake style. I think Spurs win tomorrow. Wouldn't be surprised if they win big tomorrow. Timberwolves win game 3 though. If the Spurs can win game 3, that's the stuff of champions right there, truly, because that place is gonna be rocking.
That place is gonna be a madhouse.
Last thing I want to say before we go: disappointed in Wemby's offensive performance.
Yes,
100%. I thought he settled for threes way too much. Wanted to see him more around the rim. Secondly, yes, you said he had 10 blocks.
12, but yes.
He did have 12. He had the record?
Yep.
I thought they gave him 10.
No, it's 12.
I swear okay. With that though, maybe the reason why I thought he had 10 was because I thought he got away with multiple fouls and multiple goaltends last night.
100%. No,
I've never seen
the Shannon Jr. one was a clear goaltend, and I saw it in real time. For like his second block of the game, I was like, they're not calling that. It was in real time. I was like, that hit the glass. Why aren't they calling that?
The same way Alex Caruso and these Thunder defenders get away with, defensive fouls on the perimeter, and the same way these offensive players like SGA and Jalen Brunson, Giannis, whoever, get the benefit of the doubt. Wemby gets the benefit of the doubt at the rim, which is crazy. I've never seen a player that gets the benefit of the doubt, but he definitely got the benefit of the doubt
100%.
at the rim last night.
100%.
Listen, we got to get out of here. 8 minutes exactly on the clock left to go. 9-point game. Pistons, Cavaliers, Lakers, Thunder going into the second quarter.
Over 31-26. OKC over LA. Braun with 12 in the first. Chet 9. Shea 8.
Any other final thoughts before we go?
No, I'm glad I got that Celtics thing off my chest, because I've been thinking about that for the last couple of days. They just upset me so much. But other than that, I'm actually happy now that they're out of the playoffs. I really am, for some reason, because these four teams are going to be fun series. I think not that Boston wouldn't have had a fun series. They would have had fun series, because when they're rolling, they're rolling. But I think all these teams are going to be gritty. It's going to be the old school kind of basketball with some still nuance to it. So I think it's just like the best of both worlds when we mix it up. So I love it.
Listen, this was the Warner Brothers podcast. If you listen to last night's podcast, you would hear me say that I was going to be on Is the Hype Real tonight. That show has since been canceled, as you know, because it's past 9:00 now. Of course, you'll be hearing this on Wednesday, but there's no Is the Hype Real podcast. Shouts to John. Shouts to Ray. We got to get them on here during the playoffs. Maybe even for the Drake album release, which will be coming out next week. That's crazy.
It's weird. Kehlani's album, I don't know if you've heard it. Really good.
Yeah, good album. Very good album.
Really good.
So listen, we're going to be out of here. Keaton and I might be back. It's very going to be dependent on what goes on in these playoffs, honestly. So we'll see. There's no Is the Hype Real, so maybe you get us on Thursday. There's actually a good chance you might get us on Thursday. We'll talk. We'll speak. Listen, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, we'll be on there. Catch us. Keep commenting on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We're out of here.